Things I love about WCS are the community is fantastic. So not only do I love the people I get to work with, the staff, our middle school staff is incredibly cohesive. So a very team mentality, and then also great collaboration with the parents. So I love the team effort. You know, we know as parents that it's our ultimate responsibility to educate our children, so we partner with the school, right? So that idea of partnering with us is what I get a sense of with the parents, and so the community is quite precious.